Hi everybody, I am Jay, Leonard J, and this is the Tone Lab brought to you by Stringjoy Strings. Today is the last video in our three-part series and look at guitar strings in general, and we're going to close it off by how to kind of change those strings on your finicky Bigsby guitar. For all my subscribers out there, I'm sure you guys know how much I love Bigsby, specifically Bigsby's Metallicasters, because I use them all the time. Actually, I might even say that I belong to the incredibly small minority of people that prefers the sound of a Bigsby Telecaster to a normal one, but that is a completely different conversation for a different day. They're just awesome, okay? But we know that there are things about Bigsby's that are quite annoying. Pretty much, it's really the string changing. That's the pain in the butt. And the reason why is because you have, the little ball end of your string. You're going to have to find a way to get it through that tiny pin on the most awkward place of your bridge. Then you have to route it around this weird mechanical metal pieces to make sure, without it slipping out, and then find a way to get it loaded into your peg head, wound up tight without it all falling apart. It's almost absolutely impossible, especially when you're live on stage with a bunch of people looking at you. So what I want to do is I kind of want to show you a couple tips I have to make that job a lot easier for you, and maybe show you some workarounds to even avoid the whole pin situation in general. Obviously, all of that drama comes down from making sure that little string doesn't pop out of the pin. And the good way to start off and avoid that is by actually pre-bending your string. What I like to do is just kind of wrap that little extra bit of string at the ball end around my finger, just to create a nice little gentle arc. Once we have that string seated in the pin, all you need to do is just to maintain a good amount of tension on that string. If you can maintain the tension, your problems go away. And there's three ways you can do it. One thing you can do is keep that string on really tight and then use a capo on your guitar neck to lock it in place. That way you can have all that slack on the top part of your string for the actual winding process while maintaining a nice tightness down at the bridge area. The second method is actually to jam something like a little bit of an eraser into the Bigsby itself. What that'll do is it'll create a nice little hold, keep it locked in place so it doesn't start fishing around when you start winding your string. Last but not least is a little thing I like to call the gun method. And the way you do the gun method is I like to keep the string kind of seated in the palm of my hand, pretty much between my pinky finger and my middle finger. Keeping and closing my hand over it, I'm able to maintain tension on it. As I bring that string with the tension closer to my headstock, I'm able to use my index finger to kind of push down and keep the tension on that lower string as I start winding the string. So all the tension's there on the top, but because of the pressure on my index finger pushing down against the rest of my hand, I can keep the tension there at the bridge. It's a little bit tricky, it looks a little bit funky, but once you get it right, you can get it done really, really fast. For beginners, I'd probably stick with the eraser or the capo, but once you get that palm method really good, oh man, you'll start changing strings very, very quickly with less stress. You'll be amazed how quick you can do it. But for all of you that just want to avoid it and just make things as easy as possible, you got three options. On a vintage Bigsby, the pins could actually be screwed out of the bar, so you could actually just pull your string right through that opening. That's what I do with my 1968 Telly. If you don't have a vintage Bigsby, you could actually just remove the pins and drill in the holes yourself to slide those strings into. Or you could just buy a replacement bar from someone like Callahan and just put that in where your old bar used to be. The last method is the one I use on my blue Telecaster, which is the Vibrato String Spoiler. It sits right on your existing string pegs, and it just pretty much gives you a different place to mount your strings. It looks really, really cool, and it is non-destructive, so it is easily reversible if you don't want to go with it. Well, those are my Bigsby solutions. Thanks so much for watching the videos. And to reply to a couple of your comments out there, yeah, Bigsbys do stay in tune very, very well. And I would actually say it probably even stays in tune better than something like a Strat, especially when you break a string. That being said, I'm the kind of guy that floats his Strat bridges, so take my advice with a grain of salt. But I really like Bigsbys. I hope you do too, and hopefully these techniques will give you guys without Bigsbys maybe a little bit of the courage to give it a shot. That being said, I'll see you guys all soon. Take care, and goodbye.